All right, today we are diving deep into the art and science behind creating a really powerful modular 3D asset kit. We're going to explore the philosophy of using simple, repeatable parts to build these incredibly detailed and totally unique environments, all while being super efficient. So let's jump right in. So, have you ever been in this situation? You have this epic vision in your head, a huge medieval village, a futuristic city, whatever it is. But then you sit down at your computer and the reality hits you. Where do you even begin? It's a massive undertaking, and it brings you face to face with a classic problem for any 3D artist. And that's really the trade-off, isn't it? On one side, you can build every single thing from scratch. Yeah, you get total creative control, but man, it takes forever. You could literally spend days just making a handful of unique buildings. On the other side, you could use pre-made assets, but they're often so rigid. You can't really customize them, and trying to match them to your specific style, well, it feels like you're fighting the assets the whole time.
So it was that exact frustration, that feeling that there had to be a better way, that sparked the whole idea for this project. The ready-made assets that were out there just weren't built for real, meaningful customization, and that led to thinking about a whole new approach.
And here's the key thing to understand. The goal wasn't just to make a bunch of models. The goal was to build a system that lets you create totally different, unique-looking buildings really fast without having to start from scratch every single time. It's all about that perfect sweet spot between speed and creative freedom.
Before a single polygon was even created, it all started with a really clear vision. Because if you want to build a world that feels cohesive and believable, you first have to figure out what that world should feel like. And that all comes from inspiration.
And for this project, that key touchstone was Lake Town. It just has that perfect vibe, right? It feels real and grounded, but it's also got this beautiful, stylized look. The way the buildings are all clustered together, this one reference point really set the entire artistic tone for everything that came next. So to take that vibe and make it something concrete, it was time to build a mood board. Pulling images from places like ArtStation and Pinterest, and then using a tool to organize them all. This isn't just about grabbing a bunch of cool pictures. It's about creating a visual blueprint, a clear target that you can always refer back to make sure every decision you make is pushing you in the right direction. Okay, so the creative vision is locked. Now for the really clever part, the technical blueprint. These are the fundamental rules that make the whole modular system just work. This is where the magic really starts to happen. First off, let's just make sure we're on the same page. When we say modular, what are we really talking about? Well, think of it like digital Lego bricks. You're creating a set of standardized, interchangeable parts. Each piece might be pretty simple on its own, but when you put them together, you can build something with almost infinite variety and complexity. Now, these 4 simple rules you see here, they are the absolute bedrock of the entire system. First, everything is scaled based on a human reference, so the proportions always feel right. Second, the dimensions are all standardized, 2 meters, 4 meters, 6 meters, so everything is predictable. Third, a strict 1-meter grid means every single piece snaps together perfectly, no gaps, no fuss. And finally, the origin points, where the object pivots from, are placed strategically on corners or in the center, which makes snapping and rotating them just incredibly intuitive. Okay, so the models snap together perfectly, but how do you make sure they don't all look identical and repetitive when you texture them? The answer lies in this really powerful and flexible layered approach. It's totally non-destructive, which is a huge plus. The secret sauce here is this 2 UV channel system. Think of the first channel like the base coat of paint. It's for tileable textures like wood grain or plaster that repeat over and over. And to be efficient, it's totally fine for the UVs to overlap here. But then you have channel 2. That's where the magic happens. This is for all the unique details, the dirt, the grime, the moss. And for this channel, the UVs can't overlap at all because every little speck of dirt needs its own unique place on the texture. So here's how that workflow actually plays out step by step. You start with your base tileable textures. Then you create these simple black and white images or masks for things like dirt and edge wear. Now, here's a super clever trick to save memory. You pack 3 of those different masks into the red, green, and blue channels of a single image file. Finally, in your 3D software, the material itself, the shader, unpacks those channels and blends all those layers together to create the final look. All right, we've got the vision, we've got the rules, and we've got the texturing system. So now, let's put it all together and actually watch a building come to life.
This is where you really see the speed and power of this whole modular way of thinking. So you start building, and it's actually really logical. You'll often kick things off by placing a really important piece, like the door. That immediately tells you where the front of the house is and helps you figure out the whole layout. From there, you just start building out the corners to establish the building's footprint. And this right here, this is one of those aha moments. This reveals a massive, massive time-saving trick that lets the software do most of the heavy lifting for you. It's awesome. And here's exactly how that works. You just place one single corner piece. That's it. Then you add a mirror modifier and tell it to mirror that piece across both the X and the Y axis. And bam! Instantly you have all four corners of your house. And the best part? It's non-destructive. If you want to make the house bigger or smaller, you just move that one original piece and the other three automatically update to match. It's so fast.
And the flexibility doesn't stop there. The whole point is customization, right? So you can easily add more physical detail using displacement maps, which give real depth to surfaces. You can swap out the base textures for a totally different look. You can even paint your own custom dirt masks if you want really precise control. And of course, there are all these optional bits and pieces like support beams and roof extensions that you can add to really give your building character.
And here you have it. This is what it all leads to. All those rules, all those techniques, all those systems coming together. From what started as just a collection of simple, grid-aligned pieces, you can build a detailed, believable, and totally unique world. It's really proof that having a well-thought-out system doesn't limit creativity, it actually empowers it.
At the end of the day, this whole thing isn't just about building medieval houses. It's about a really powerful way of thinking. By setting a clear vision, establishing a few smart rules, and creating an efficient workflow, you can build your own modular systems for literally any kind of project you can imagine. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build with yours?